Asking, believing, one day, it would happen like a seed pushing through frozen ground or a petal after morning rain unfolding. Don't listen to their lies about spring renewal, cycle of seasons. Hold on to your promise, because in the end, all you'll have is this moment to live and relive.
So it had a really great sense of creativity. The lead performances, both women are quite talented, had a really great dynamic between each other and within the aspect of their individual performances. I thought they really had a great interplay from the beginning. There was a real great sense of humor. I tend to appreciate this sort of silent film acting technique of being very expressive. And I thought that they did well in sort of capturing sort of the qualities that make that type of performance interesting and funny, and I thought that it was reflected into other aspects of the narrative as it gets towards the end. You see different approaches to both their style of dance performance, and I think the aesthetic and the stylistic approach of the overall piece. So I thought that the piece showed a good sense of range across the runtime that I thought really reflected the level of talent by the leads, and I thought that the ending sequences had a really great sense of sort of intimacy and compassion.
The dancing in this felt very playful. It almost felt like it could have been improv dance if the two dancers were not so synchronized. It felt very fun and playful and real. I loved the facial expressions on the dancers / actresses. They're very interesting and dynamic and big. The scene transitions were also really cool, where they would move the curtains and they would be in a different scene. There was really interesting imagery created in this film, especially with the photo shoot and the outfits. And the lines of dialogue in between each scene were also really interesting. It sort of made me think of the title, The Lines in Between, because the dialogue didn't really seem to be connected. They seemed to be, jumping in the middle of something else. So the dialogue lines in between these dance sequences. Yeah, and also the fact that each scene sort of had very different dance sequences and visuals and imagery. So I thought that was really cool as well.
This is a recreation with documentary style VO, retelling the story and history, and it's intercut with these performance pieces. The music is upbeat and energetic, as well as the movement. They match one each other as far as tonality. And then the music shifts to a more dreamy and soft approach and tone for the beach scenes. It almost feels like tonally very calm and slow moving, sort of like beach waves.
I love the structure of the piece based on several sections of soulful poetry. The two performers worked well together. They were so expressive and energetic, displaying clever choreography. I liked the soundtrack with a mixture of instruments. I also enjoyed the various settings in the piece, my most favorite being the bright beach scene with the chairs wearing wardrobe, very memorable.
I think it was a really interesting use of movement and like filling space and filling things that aren't there. And I took from that thematically as well as with the movement. You have some really good like partner work in this, and I think it's interesting like watching like an idea conceptualized through the movement and like thematically, and the phrase like read in between the lines, like the lines in between, like what's in those lines, like you have to piece it together. And I think that's what this piece was like expressing through movement. And I think it was really cool. It was really dynamic.
I thought this was about the creative process. At least that's what I took from it, and the difficulty of being creative and actually having an idea and moving on it. I thought it was a really nice set design throughout, and the colors and the music was a lot of fun, and it really kept the pace going and kept me interested. The costumes were great. I really in particular liked the movements when the the two were on the table and underneath the table. I thought that was really cool and had to be timed just perfectly because they were kind of mirroring each other. So it was really cool. And I'm sure that that was sort of difficult to get the timing correct on that. I laughed out loud when the girl ran by and yelled, "Yippee!"